There's a Jewish calendar? What do you mean we have our own calendar? Gonna have your own holidays, need to have your own calendar. Greetings, hero. It is I, your friendly neighborhood rabbi, and I'm here to talk to you today about the Jewish calendar, also known as the Hebrew calendar. You may have noticed that the Jewish holidays are on a different day on the calendar every single year. That is, if you're looking at your regular Gregorian calendar or the one that most people just call the calendar. It's got 12 months. Each one of those months has 30 to 31 days, except when it's 28, except when the 28 is 29 because of a leap year. But the 4th of July is always the 4th of July. But why is Rosh Hashanah on a different day every year? Fun fact, Rosh Hashanah is always on the 1st of Tishrei, also the 2nd day of Tishrei. See, Rosh Hashanah and other Jewish holidays don't follow the secular or the Gregorian calendar. Jewish holidays follow the Hebrew calendar. Julian calendar is named after Julius Caesar, who was a famous Roman emperor and Shakespeare character. The Gregorian calendar is named after the medieval Pope Gregory, each one of them establishing a calendar for their own political or religious purposes. But the Hebrew calendar predates both of those things. And in the Torah, when it's telling us to have holidays on certain days, the Torah is using the Hebrew calendar. And so every year, Rosh Hashanah is on the 1st day of Tishrei, Yom Kippur is on the 10th day of Tishrei, and Sukkot starts the 15th day of Tishrei. But these calendars don't always line up, and that's why if you're looking at your regular secular calendar, it looks like the Jewish holidays are on different days. So what is it with this separate calendar, and where can I get one? I'm glad you asked. First, let me explain to you that the Hebrew calendar is this funny thing called a Lunisolar calendar. Lunisolar? That sounds like sun and moon all mashed together. Aha! See, the ancient Hebrews marked months by the cycles of the moon, as many ancient peoples have, and some current peoples. And the cycles of the moon are typically 28, 29 days, right around there. This is actually an excellent thing for scheduling holidays so that your major public festivals happen during the full moon. You don't have electric lights, you can still party later. That's why Sukkot, our major fall festival, is on the 15th of the lunar month. That's the full moon. And on the flip side, Passover also starts around the time of the full moon. The problem is, if you only have a lunar calendar, it gets out of sync with the solar calendar. That is, how long it takes the Earth to revolve around the sun. Fun fact, the Earth revolves around the sun. There, I said it. Earth's also round. So if you only kept a calendar according to lunar months, you'd wind up short a few days, and over the course of many years, your fall holidays would drift into spring holidays, your spring holidays would drift into fall holidays, and for example, the harvest festival of Sukkot would be happening in the middle of winter. That doesn't even make sense. So as early as a couple thousand years ago, our rabbis said, okay, look, we're just going to do the months based on the new moon, and every few years when things seem to be getting out of whack, we'll add an extra month. So instead of our secular calendar, which has a leap day once every 4 years, they would have largely shorter months than the secular calendar, and every 2 or 3 years they would add an extra month. Keeps your fall holidays in the fall, keeps your spring holidays in the spring. This is also why you may have noticed that Ramadan, which follows a purely lunar Muslim calendar, has drifted throughout the year as to when it's observed. So the rabbis figured that out, but they weren't really exact about it. In fact, they didn't really have much of a calendar at all. They would get together and ask an expert, hey, expert, is it the new month yet? And he would look in his telescope and they'd be like, yep, new moon. And they would announce it to everybody, and they'd be signal fires like in Lord of the Rings. And they were really kind of living month to month. Over the course of the first, say, 1,000 years of the Common Era, they refined this process until our good friend Maimonides actually codified it kind of mathematically about 1,000 years ago. So we keep our calendar kosher with a 19-year cycle in which 7 of those 19 years have an extra month. What's the name of this extra month? Well, it doesn't really have its own name. What they did was they just took a month. If you think rabbis are all sticks in the mud, what they did was they took the happiest month of the year, that is the month of Adar, the month that Purim is in, and they made 2 of them. So every couple of years, totaling 7 years out of every 19 years, there's Adar 1 and there is Adar 2. How do you keep track of all this mishigas? Mishigas is Yiddish for nonsense. You get yourself a Jewish calendar. Oh good, another thing to buy. Not really. In most communities that have a Jewish presence, you can actually get a free calendar, often by going to your synagogue or a Jewish community center or someplace like that. The synagogues actually get crates of calendars every year as kind of promotional items from the nearest Jewish funeral home or a grocery store with a kosher selection. And so if you go to your synagogue, you could probably get a free copy of the coming year's Jewish calendar. And it's laid out like the secular calendar with all the Jewish holidays on the correct day according to the Hebrew calendar. calendar. Or maybe better than that, if you haven't already, is join the 31-day challenge. If you take part in the challenge, it's happening right now in August of 2018 by the Common Era. And you can do that by clicking on the first link you see in the show notes below. By signing up for this challenge, you will auto-magically receive a downloadable copy of my guide to this year's Jewish holidays. That's a couple-page spread with a description of all the major holidays and the dates that they fall on in this 2018-2019 cycle, also known as the Jewish year 5779. That's another video. Hero, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about it, leave your question in the comments below. I just thought it was important that we talk about the finer points of the Jewish calendar before we get too deep into all of the fall holidays that we're learning about, so that you can understand and even explain to other people why this day seems to be on a different day every year as the other Jewish holidays do. And if somebody complains to you about that, he's like, well, I guess you just don't have the Jewish calendar. Thanks again for watching. If you want to learn more about the Jewish holidays that are coming up, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. If you're subscribed, make sure you hit that little bell icon, ding-a-ding-a-ding, so you get notified when new videos come out. And the best thing that you could do is be signed up for this challenge, hitting that link in the show notes below, or clicking on that orange autumn colored square over there. Can't wait to see all the learning that we're going to do together. And until next time, Hero, peace.